Despicable Me is out this week.
New Digimation US-backed European animators, voices of, amongst others, Steve Carell, Russell Brand, Julie Andrews. Story is Steve Carell is Gru, who is a fiendish mastermind who needs investment from the Bank of Evil. In one of the film's better jokes, the Bank of Evil brackets, formerly Lehman Brothers. Boom, and if you will, boom. His main thing is that he...
Was that a Dutch joke?
Boom, and if you will. No, that's not. That's it. I used to be able to do Paul Verhoeven, but I can't.
Sorry, I'm not asking you to do an impression. I apologise. Do carry on. Please don't pause.
Paul Verhoeven was once talking about...
Please don't pause.
Okay, fine. Just bumping. That's what it is. It's just... So I put myself off.
Exactly. Just get on with it.
Yes, he needs to do evil acts. He is not taken seriously by the Bank of Evil because of a newcomer called Vector, and his mother doesn't take him seriously either. Here's a clip.
Hello, Mom. Sorry, I meant to call, but...
I just wanted to congratulate you on stealing the pyramid. That was you, wasn't it? Or was it a villain who's actually successful?
Just so you know, Mom, I am about to do something that is very, very big, very important. When you hear about it, you're going to be very proud.
Good luck with that. Okay, I'm out of here.
What he wants to do is he wants to steal the moon, but in order to steal the moon, he has to steal a shrinking ray that will shrink the moon down to a size that he can get it in the spaceship. And in order to steal the shrinking ray, he has to adopt 3 orphans who make cookies which are liked by the person who owns the shrinking ray. So he adopts the orphans. Obviously, he's Despicable Me, but during the course of the drama in which he has to have the orphans to get to send around the robo-cookies, do you think there's any possibility his heart will melt and he will discover that there is more to life than just being evil?
It sounds like it might be you're leading us in a particular direction. I think the answer might be yes.
So here's the thing with Despicable Me. Well, a few things to say about Despicable Me. First thing is that most of the ideas in it are at least second or third hand. I mean, the Gru character is basically Dr. Evil from the Austin Powers movies. I mean, a use certificate with a bit of Igor thrown in. And he, Carell said that the voice he's doing is Ricardo Montalban meets Bela Lugosi. The moon stealing plot is anything from Dougal and the Blue Cat to certain bits of Wallace and Gromit, and actually some Tim Burton animation. Julie Andrews, I think, has been cast largely because she was in Shrek. The little yellow monster robots that help him seem to have wandered in from Toy Story, either from Toy Story or indeed from Monsters Inc. And even the Bank of Evil joke looks like it's sort of left over from The Incredibles. I'm not saying that the film is disastrous in its construction. It's just, it is really quite shockingly unoriginal. And there's even the adopting the orphans thing, which is sort of a riff from Lemony Snicket's. The difference with Lemony Snicket's being, the reason Lemony Snicket's works, although probably the reason Lemony Snicket's wasn't a bigger hit, is that the central character doesn't actually have some lovely conversion and decide that children are wonderful. Actually, the Jim Carrey character in Lemony Snicket's is really horrible all the way through. Remember the author of Lemony Snicket's came on the programme, and do you remember that?
Many years ago. In fact, no, I don't, but I'm sure you're right.
Oh, you talked to him as if you were a great fan of his work.
I'm sure I did. I perfected that art.
The other thing to say, that probably the most important thing about Despicable Me is that it's released in 2 and 3D and was a watershed moment to some extent in the States, because in America at least only 45% of the audience watched it in 3D, which meant that it was a turning point in, everyone was saying, 3D is the future, 3D is what's going to, basically bankroll Hollywood from now on. And what was demonstrated was that people weren't interested. Now, in the case of the 3D in Despicable Me, it's completely irrelevant. It's so irrelevant that they have to do a 3D sequence during the closing credits in order to kind of justify the fact that it's 3D, because the 3D adds nothing whatsoever. It's, you think that the 3D in Toy Story...
Isn't there an Eat, Pray, Love, Vomit moment where the vomit comes out at you?
Well, that's not enough to justify the 3D.
Sounded quite fun.
Yeah. No. But it was... Now, I read a couple of industry articles in which people said, oh, no, that's completely wrong. The reason only 45% of the audience in America saw Despicable Me in 3D is because all the other 3D screens were full. And in fact, what it demonstrates is not that people have lost the appetite for 3D, but that we need more 3D screens in order to... There was a great article in the papers today, and this has been going around for a while, that, of course, as Christopher Nolan was telling everybody, the future isn't 3D. The future is IMAX, if anything. The IMAX format has had... No, sorry.
No.
It's important because the only interesting thing to be said about Despicable Me, except for the fact that it's derivative, it's bland, and it's nothing other than perfectly ordinary, is that it is, if you care to see it in this way, a watershed moment in the ongoing evolution or devolution of 3D cinema. And from where I'm standing, that's actually the most important thing about the movie. It's a tipping point. It's a flag. It's a marker. It's a line in the sand. It is nothing other than that.